Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Lucy May Walker here. So today I want to talk to you about the kind of busking etiquette and what not to do to a busker. If you don't know this about me already, I am a musician and I'm a full-time musician, but my income mainly, I'd say probably 80–90% of my income comes solely from busking on the streets of London. Got hair in my eye somewhere. I've been doing it for about, I don't know, 3 years or something. So I have seen it all and I just want to tell you all the things not to do. So the first thing is eye contact. Some people really try their hardest to not look at you. I never really understood it, and then one person told me that they do it because they think if they look at a busker in the eye, then they then feel like, oh no, now I need to give them money. Same thing as like, oh, if I look like I'm enjoying their music, then that means I have to give them money, so I'd rather ignore them and pretend they don't exist. Don't do that! Smile at us, look at us, like we're human beings. You don't need to avoid eye contact and you don't owe us money if you look us in the eyes. Another thing is a lot of people do like stare at you when you're singing, which is fine because you're like performing and you want people to watch you in a non-creepy way. But sometimes they'll be staring at me, so I'll look at them, I'll have eye contact and I'll like smile as I'm singing, like to acknowledge them, like kind of thank you for watching, and they don't smile back. And I find it the creepiest thing when you're like, and people just like, and they don't look away, they just keep staring. I find it really weird. So if you're gonna stare at a busker and they smile at you, smile back, otherwise you look really weird. So I busk in quite a lot of places. I busk on the underground train stations, like the overground train stations at London's South Bank, and I busk at Borough Market. Borough Market and South Bank are very similar because it's more of you kind of wanting a crowd to kind of watch you for the majority of your set or just a bit of it, rather than on the underground people just kind of, it's like more of a passing crowd. So these are the things that annoy me specifically about Borough Market and South Bank. If you're enjoying it, or even if you're not enjoying it but you're watching, can you just clap after a song? So I busked yesterday at Borough Market. It was a specifically bad day busking, and let me tell you, I busked there for 2 hours, which is a pretty long time to be busking. And for the first 45 minutes, not one person clapped a single song. They're watching me and they're taking videos, and they're not leaving. So you think, well, they kind of must be enjoying it. But when they don't clap, it's like, oh, am I invisible? You just need a little bit of like encouragement to keep going for 2 hours because it's a long time. Just clap. Okay, let's talk about the big question, money. The most annoying thing is when people stop you and they ask you, how much money do you make? I just find it really weird because you would never ask anyone in any other profession how much money they make, especially when it's a stranger. Like maybe if you're like really close friends and you just get onto the topic, but to go and ask a stranger how much money they make in an hour, I find it really rude. For some reason, like when I do interviews and people mention busking, it's like the first question people want to ask me, like, how much do you make? And I'm like, how much do you make? And then I'll tell you. Rude. One thing I really hate, and it's actually mostly kids that do this, sorry kids, love you, it's when they look in your case to see how much money you're making, or not making in my case the other day. Especially because I don't use my guitar case. I've got like this little pink box, so you actually, to see how much money I'm making, you have to like peer your head in. And like so many kids do it, and I just find it, I know that they don't know that that's rude, but I find it so rude, and like the parents don't kind of go, oh my god, like, you know, if the kids do it and then the parents see and then they give me money, that's fine. But I just find it really, really rude, and adults do it as well. They like peer in. And I just think, what, that is rude. And God, and this happened the other day at Borough Market. This kid like goes up but I thought she was putting money in, but she like went up, and I've learned a lesson here. I said thank you so much before she dropped the money in. And at that moment, I realised that she wasn't putting money in. She was just like peering in and looking at the lack of money in there. Another thing about money, and this I found happens mostly on the underground, and I would say this has only ever happened, weirdly, with men. They'll put their hand in their pocket and they'll jangle their coins and keep walking. Or sometimes people get the coins out, look at them in front of me and put them in their pocket again and carry on walking. And I just don't understand why. And I feel like maybe a lot of people just, they do it and they don't even realise that they're doing it. I think that is the case. I'm like, are you doing it to show me like that you have got money but you don't think I deserve it, or what? Just don't jangle your money. I was talking to a few other busker friends, and another person said that when people like in a train station, they'll come and stand right in front of you and they'll get their wallet out and they'll get their train ticket out their wallet and put their wallet away. It's like, did you have to do that right in front of me to kind of like tease me with your money? Oh yeah, and then you get these other people that drop money into your case, but they do it so secretively. If you give me money, I really want to acknowledge, I'd say thank you down the microphone anyway, but I want to look at you and like say thank you. And I don't like it when people just like drop it and like scurry on by. Let me say thank you, because I am thankful. Also, another thing about money, if you're ever wondering how much to give a busker, I would say maybe £1. If you've got 50p, don't think, oh, that's not enough, so I won't give her 50p. Like, we will take it all off your hands, and it's also like just nice to give something. Another thing that we were chatting about was like where people like get all their money out, so they've got like a few like pounds and 20p's and like whatever, and they'll get like the coppers out and put that in. Like, don't bother, because what's the point in that? Taking photographs. Now, I know that there's a lot of buskers out there that get really annoyed when people take photos and videos of them busking and then they don't give money. I would say that doesn't actually annoy me. I'd rather you took a video of me and posted it on Instagram and tagged me, and for me that's free promotion, so I don't mind you not giving money. What I do mind is when people like, they get out their phone, they take a little video and then they like walk off. Like, again, it's that acknowledgement. Just acknowledge me, like smile. Maybe say, is it okay if I take a video? But just doing the sneaky bit, I don't like that. Just acknowledge me, I'm a human being with feelings. Loud talking. So this happens probably mostly on the underground, especially like in Tottenham Court Road underground. There's like a big tunnel and the sound really travels. People will be like having a conversation and walking towards me, and I'm not saying you have to stop talking to listen to me or just to respect me. Would be nice though. But it's the people that like, they almost are shouting to the person next to them so they'll hear. But I'm like, you don't need to do that, and you're just like, you're actually louder than me. Don't shout in front of me. Thanks. The other thing is when people like stand right next to your amp, and maybe they're on the phone or something, and then they'll be on the phone standing next to your amplifier, which amplifies sound, and then they'll be like annoyed and like, don't stand next to an amp. Another thing that annoys me is when, again, it's usually the underground, and I don't mean any offence here, but nine times out of 10 it is the elder generation, and they will walk past you with their fingers in their ears. I can't tell you how rude it is. I said this in the little WhatsApp group all of the buskers have, and my friend Charlie Law said, oh no, that's because they wear hearing aids and it's really loud for them. But I was like, no, it's not. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 times it is, but I know that the majority of those times when people walk past with a finger in their ear, it's to tell me that they disapprove of what I'm doing. Every single time it's happened, I've been busking for like an hour before and no one else has said like, oh, you're too loud. I know I'm not too loud. You just want to make a point and it's rude. And little kids do it as well. Stop it. I've gone through this on another vlog of mine, but just to reiterate on this point, don't tell us that we should go on the X Factor or The Voice or Britain's Got Talent. Just say that we're good and we will take that as a much nicer compliment. I'll say no more. People will come up to you in the middle of a set and they'll say, oh hi, sorry, do you do like private gigs? Do you do weddings? Do you do pub gigs? To that I'll say, oh yeah I do, let me give you my card. So I'll get my card out which has my email address, give it to you and I'll say send me an email. They'll go, oh thanks, how much do you charge? Now I find that a very awkward question and maybe that's my insecurity, but number one, I'm in the middle of a job. You're going to ask me a question that I can't answer in one sentence, so I can't really have this conversation in the middle of my set. Number two, this is a kind of business conversation, and let's say you are doing a wedding. You wouldn't speak to a catering company and say how much you charge and expect them to tell you. You wouldn't expect them to tell you in like one sentence, because it depends on loads of different factors, and maybe it is like a bit of an awkward thing for me and maybe I should get better at this, but I don't want to have that conversation face to face with a stranger I've just met. I'd rather have it by email, because you put me on the spot. And my other busker friend Anna Bain said sometimes people will ask her how much she charged for weddings and she'll tell them on the spot and then they'll pull a face at her like, oh, but you're a busker, why are you charging that much? Don't do that. Don't ask me to play Wonderwall. When people request a song and then you'll start playing it and then they leave and you're like, if you're going to request a song and I'm going to play it, at least give me money. I don't actually take requests unless you request something on my set list, because I'm just not that talented. Hats off to any buskers that take requests. Like, I think it's great that you can do that, but I cannot. Children make my job much better because they're just great, to be honest. Like, I don't even want kids. I'm not really a massive fan of kids, but when I'm busking, kids are great. They are just fascinated and they want to watch you and they want to dance, and they're just great. But what I don't like is when their parents see them enjoying you and they have this fear like, oh no, now the busker thinks we need to give them money, and they'll drag their kids away, and I'm like, oh, if they're really enjoying the busker, just let them enjoy the busker. Don't drag them away, because they're really making my day a lot happier. So this is a very new thing to busking. I want to talk about card machines. So the world is moving on, and we are slowly becoming a cashless society. Which okay, it's good and bad, whatever. But for a busker that relies on cash to pay the rent, it's quite a bad thing, and I think a lot of us have been ignoring it and trying to believe it's not happening, but slowly we're making less and less money. So I think the only way that I can keep going and keep making this my full-time job is to get a card machine. I know it's new and I know it's might be funny to you and ridiculous, but people will like look at it and they'll point and they'll laugh at me. And like they'll be like, oh look, that busker's got a card machine. Like, I don't mind you showing your friend and be like, oh wow, look. Again, it just acknowledge me and be like, oh, like that's cool, or bloody try it out, use it. That'll be great if you're gonna laugh at me. I just find it really rude when people they'll take pictures of it and then they won't even look at me. It's like, oh look, that's hilarious. Okay, number one, it's not hilarious. I'm just trying to make a living. I've got so many other things that I will probably think about. But I think just to round this off, I guess busking for a lot of people is their full-time job. We are real musicians, and just because we are busking on the street doesn't mean we're less of a musician than someone that isn't busking. Like, I know people in like quite big bands that still have to have full-time jobs. So for me, I'd much rather be busking on the street as my full-time job rather than doing something nothing to do with music. And it means I could promote myself every single day. And even when every day my soul is a little bit destroyed from busking, there's always at least one like beautiful moment that I can take away from my day and feel happy about it. So yeah, how not to treat a busker? Don't be a knob. Just be nice. Just acknowledge us, and if you're enjoying it, show that you're enjoying it, whether that be by clapping or by giving me some money or just smiling, or give me a follow on Spotify. You don't have to give money all the time. That's not how it works. Well, for me anyway. I can see that you're taking a picture of my sign to then look me up on Spotify. Sometimes that means more than someone giving me 50p. So yeah. And if you are someone that supports busking and you enjoy busking in London, I love seeing buskers, and I think it just makes London a more beautiful sounding place. Alright, I think that's everything. One other thing to mention, I'm going on tour. Nothing to do with busking, this is all original music. I'm going on tour in the first week of October to Manchester, Glasgow, Birmingham and London. Tickets are available. I'll pop the links in my thing. I don't know what to call it. And I'm really excited to do that, and I would really like as many of you there as possible, so I'm not playing to empty rooms, because that's equally as soul destroying as busking. Alright, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and life. Bye. Jesus.